Hello, beautiful sacred feminines. Thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to talk today a little bit about sex. Yep, that's right. We had a really lovely full moon healing circle this last, what's today is, it was like 2 nights ago. We're in the full moon and Libra energies that we just had. And we were sharing about what it was, women's circle, sharing about what we were working with and what was coming up for us. And after each drum meditation, I love to hear what came up for people. So one of the things that came up for me was about sex, because I've been really trying to connect more to my sexuality and just more of a free flow, and it's always evolving, but for me right now, I just ended a long-term relationship that I was in. And when we're in a long-term relationship, oftentimes, of course, I can't speak for everybody, but I've seen the patterns. In the beginning, you start off just like, whoa, really connected to each other, really attracted to each other. The energy's flowing, a lot of interaction. And then as time goes on, that can really dissipate, depending, of course, on the dynamics. I mean, I don't think it has to be that way at all. And I didn't think ours was going to go that way, but, you know, it just did. I won't get into all the details about that, but what came up for me during that relationship was when I met my husband, I was escorting, and I'd been escorting for 12 years. And before that, I was a dancer, erotic dancer. And I have always been like really kind of into my sensuality in that way, and expressing it and sharing it with a number of people. That's just how I like to express that. How my energy shows up. I love experiencing new energies. I love that. So the thought of just being with one person scared me in the beginning, but then I started to appreciate like how beautiful that can be, and how close you can get, and how you can explore um, in a different way than when you're just meeting with a client for an hour, 2 hours, overnight. So it's there's a lot of beauty there to be shared, to be said, of course. So I started getting excited about that and seeing what might transpire with that experience. And it didn't. Well, let me back up a little bit. So what I feel like went wrong with the situation. Initially, when I met my husband, he was very supportive of what I did for a living, and I had no intentions of not doing it. I still wanted to continue being me and who I was. And had that changed for me as I went along and decided to just only want to share myself with my husband, that would have been great. But there was a lot of pressure on his side for me to not be doing what I was doing, and it turned into a real emotional challenge, and kind of emotional manipulation really is what it turned into. And I just had to feel guilty and horrible, and it was a struggle every time I had an appointment. It was just like, oh my gosh, here we go, I'm gonna have to deal with my husband's reaction and reactivity to this. And I just I started getting more and more frustrated with that situation. And eventually I did come to the fact that, or just the decision that I wanted to stop doing that. And I feel like I stopped doing the escorting. And I feel like I wanted it to really be in my power and in my choice, and not due to how my husband was reacting. And eventually he started getting better with it. He started being a lot more understanding and knowing that I loved him, and it had nothing to do with how I was sharing my energy. That was something he needed to work through, and I was trying my best to be patient with that. But after a while, it just kind of, this stuff kind of wears on you. So it did. And then, that's where some resentment creeped in, and it would be like, we were having sex when he was needing emotional support. So it was no longer about this beautiful, sensual attraction energy. It was more like kind of some soothing blanket for him. And that isn't sexy for me at all. That's not why I'm into having sex. It's not to caretake another person. And so my attraction and my sexual energy just really started waning in that situation, and I just kind of lost the desire to be with him. Unfortunately, I mean, that's really sad, but that's what happened. And when that goes from a relationship, you may or may not know. It's just like it starts getting kind of humdrum, and you turn into just kind of like roommates, or good friends. And I think it's a really important part of a relationship. And I know it's challenging to keep that passion going, but there's certainly things that come in that aren't supportive at all, and that really really challenge a relationship, and that kind of emotional neediness, caretaking type of situation in the sexual relationship it just really killed it for me. So, um, I'm talking about this because now that relationship is ended, I'm trying to get back in touch with my own sexual energy, because it's just been kind of stifled and not there, and just really wanting to, embrace this part of me and see what it is now. I'm not doing the escorting. I'm not with my husband. I'm just like me by myself right now. And what does that look like? How does that express for me? And just thinking this morning, what happened during the drum circle with the meditation, the drumming, I just started feeling a lot of sensation, and down in it, not my root chakra, and it wasn't like my vulva or vagina necessarily, but just some sensual energy, and just like, like kind of waking up. And it was a delicious feeling. It was so nice. But not like the typical like sexual arousal type of feeling. It was a little different and deeper. I don't know how to explain that, but it was just so nice. So I brought that into the conversation, and we started talking about our own expression with sexuality and our own challenges, and how we express our sexual energy. It's been so convoluted and distorted in our society. We're either like hypersexualized, or we stifle that part of ourselves so we don't make the wrong impression or get the wrong attention, or something. But we were talking about, like, we don't even know what our own sexual energy is, because we've been told it's supposed to be this from so many different angles. What is a healthy libido? Oh, well, it means I want to be having sex many times a week. No, maybe that's one person, but it's not for the other. It's just, so even when we think we're trying to be in our healthy sexuality, like realizing like that's just another story I picked up from somewhere, somebody saying this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. But to really go in and explore what that looks like for each of us individually, it takes a lot of work, because we really have to pick apart all that we've taken in, all that we've been shown in society, all the messages, all the strange the strange messaging that we've heard, and then we've got the guilt and shame, and women are the originators of sin, and so much shit that we're carrying, dealing with. And so we talked about like how expressing and dressing in a certain way and wanting to be sensual in that way, and how that can be a lovely thing, but we can also tell when it's coming from a different place, where it's actually not coming from a healthy expression. It's coming from needing outside validation from, somebody, thinking like, yes, you are sexy, you are worthy, which it really comes down to, like, our value is placed on how sexual we are. If we're getting sexual attention, for a lot of people, a lot of women, that's where their value comes from. And we can tell when we see, because I've worked with this myself, I see somebody outside or out on the street, like dressed in a certain way, very provocatively, and I want to be happy for them, and like, yes, if that's how you feel, like dressing and like really celebrating and just being, whatever. I don't even need to have an opinion. But I can also tell when it's not coming from a healthy place, when it's coming from trying to get outside validation of our worthiness. And so we talked about that, and the real difference in having to, go in deep and really get like, what is a confident, strong, healthy sexuality, not dependent on outside sources, outside validation for like, yes, you are sexy. Yes, based on our societal standards, you are attractive, and your body is the way it's supposed to be, and you're having sex in the way that you're supposed to be having it, and as much as you're supposed to be having it. So, like really digging into that, and what does that look like? And what made me think about this morning was, contemplating my escorting and missing those connections, and then feeling just kind of like this guilt and shame that comes along with that, because it's very it is not the norm, right? It is shunned and shamed in society, and I have always been on the outskirts. I have always been on the fringe of society. I just don't align with the way that we've been taught what a life is supposed to look like. I mean, look at me right now. I'm living in a shuttle bus out. I'm in the woods right now, just, solo, alone, no hookups, no nothing, just like living off the land right now, and making up my own rules as I go, and that's how I have always done my life. So that was part of my experience. But yeah, it comes with a lot of kind of stress, really. It's just like being out here on the road, like there's certain, are we breaking rules? Am I gonna get in trouble for, camping here? Or, but I don't know. I just recognize that that's part of what comes with this life when you go outside the norm, and when you are breaking the rules or breaking, yeah, the norm, or what is expected and what we're supposed to do. It comes with that kind of level of stress, I guess, and I really work with that, and just like, okay, this is how I choose to live my life, and it comes with this, and it doesn't have to be stressful, of course not, but that's just kind of part of what we're working through here, because the conditioning is so strong and so powerful. If you don't conform to what you're supposed to, there's stress that comes along with it, and kind of a shaming and a judging and a yeah, and the authorities are like, no, you can't camp here. No, you can't do this. No, you can't have sex with that person. You can't, be in this certain way. So I don't know. I've always pushed back on that. I've always pushed back on it in sometimes bigger ways and smaller ways. I don't agree with what the box that I've been I've been tried to put into. I'm just like, I don't like that box. It does not fit me. I don't like that box either. It doesn't fit me. So, but getting back to the escorting and just contemplating those interactions that I had and the clients and the wonderful experiences. Not everyone was wonderful, of course, but mostly I had a really good time, and it afforded me a lot of freedom. It paid very well. I got to go travel. I got to go to India every year. It covered my travel expenses. I was able to save money, and I was able to go to school. I was able to volunteer at different places. I was able to really utilize my time and my life in the way that was more suited to me. I could do my spiritual practice. I could do hours of practice in the morning, and, work a couple hours a week and be great. It was awesome. I loved that. And I loved the new energies I would get to experience. I just loved that. And I was feeling today, like, what got me on this was, kind of the judging myself again for those enjoying that different energy, but recognizing really quick, like, wow, you are judging yourself based on what, again, some societal norm that's been handed to you. It's like people would want to say, oh, there's a fear of intimacy. No, there's not actually a fear of intimacy. I get intimate with my clients, and then they go, like, and I got very intimate with my husband and shared a lot with him and had that relationship as well. I love experiencing new energies. I love expressing sensually in that situation. It's really fun for me and nourishing. I love sharing a new experience with another person. I love showing them what their body is capable of experiencing. I love taking them to like new heights, as it were, or just showing them a different way of sexuality and sensuality as well. I really enjoyed that, and it spoke to me, and I would always be done with my sessions and just be like, yeah, just my energy was so high and up, and I just felt really good about what I was doing, and it was great. And I was also bringing more awareness and consciousness into these experiences, and the way I presented myself was trying to do that as well, more about a connection and energy exchange, and I just loved it. So I just saw myself this morning kind of judging it, and really found that interesting that as we were having that conversation about what is our individual sexuality, what is that energy for us, that's what my energy is for me. That's a big part of my energy, and shutting that down for my husband to really kind of keep that. I mean, part of that was exploring. I wanted to see what would happen, when I just committed to one person. And not that I haven't been monogamous before, but actually maybe I haven't really. I kind of just have always enjoyed like being with multiple partners. That's again, and there's that like, ooh, that's bad. Fuck, it's not bad. It's not bad. Wow. Like, do you see that? I mean, it's really strange. We've been told that monogamy is the way to be. We've been told that you stay with one partner, you get married young as a virgin, stay with that partner forever, never veer off the trail, only have sex in the missionary position, just do this and you're okay. Or we've been told you have to be a total slut and just have sex with everybody, but then you're damaged goods. Like, what the hell? Oh my gosh, it's no wonder we're so confused. But so I was curious about exploring this with my husband, and I was so committed to us. I was so committed to what we had, and I was willing to do that. I was willing to do that because I loved him, and I wanted to see what would happen. What is this? Let's explore this. I'm open. Like, yeah, let's see. I mean, maybe it's just going to be this amazing thing, and I didn't feel so attached to, I have to, hold on to my escorting thing. Like, no, like, let's see. I've committed to this person. Let's see what happens when I commit in that way too. So I did, and it didn't end up going so well, but because once I did, it was really interesting. He kind of lost interest. he didn't have a really high libido. So we just kind of stopped. I was just like, so I gave up a lot of my sensual energy to end up, and once he had that commitment from me, it feels like then nothing happened. There was no impetus to like kind of hold on to what we were sharing sensually. It's really interesting dynamic. So, and we could explore that all day, but I'm not going to get into it, like a lot of wounding there, a lot of insecurities for sure. So, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to get on here and talk about that, like, how much we've been handed, how much crap we've been handed from society and from religions telling us what it's supposed to be, and really, really working on exploring that for ourselves. And what is it in the group we were talking about? The women had gone from various stages, like, yeah, just putting it out, connecting with anybody to get that attention. I think a lot of us go through that phase because, again, we're told like that's how we're going to get attention, and we're going to get love is by putting out and having sex. And it turns out like that isn't really fulfilling because it's not really what we're looking for, right? But going to the opposite end of the spectrum, which is not having any at all, saving myself for the right person, and that puts a lot of pressure on that situation too. So how do we come into ourselves and just feel into what feels right for us, and knowing that that's an ongoing journey, like that's going to change all the time. Like, it was right for me to be escorting and doing that for a while, and then it was right for me to not, and now it's right for me to, I don't know what, but I'm exploring and I'm seeing what transpires from here. It's always changing as our bodies change and our hormones change and our consciousness changes. What are we looking for? Maybe just some sensual expression and connection is great, but then maybe we want more of an emotional thing. I don't know. Not that. Yeah, it's all over the board, right? I mean, we can get a lot out of this, but basically what it comes down to is feeling good about how we're expressing, feeling good about it. If you want to just have a thing with somebody for a minute and enjoy that and just like, yeah, this is great. As long as you're in your power and feeling good, that's all that matters, right? And if you're strong and clear in your boundaries and you're clear in expressing, that's a big piece too, because we don't communicate very well what And so it gets messy. That's part of what I loved about the escorting. It was just like so clear, like, you're here for 90 minutes, then you go. We're going to enjoy the heck out of each other for that time, and then it's over. Like, clear boundaries. It was beautiful. I got to just really express and just like, and not have any more, because again, that's how my energy works. I really appreciate that. I like new energies. I get, I guess, kind of bored, with the same thing over and over. And that's just like, and part of what keeps me excited and interested is having fresh experiences. And then I can bring some of that energy into a relationship, and I get really excited and turned on about that. So, I mean, it doesn't mean I loved my husband any less. I mean, he just thought that I was going to run off with these people. And it's just like, I could have done that before I met you. I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years now. If that's what I wanted, I would have done that. Like, I'm with you. But anyway, I don't need to get into all that, but that's what it was, and that's also part of what we've been told as society. If you have sex with one person, you can't love another person. If you are with somebody, there's just, again, there's that monogamy that you can't have sex with more than one person and love or commit yourself or be caring. So, which I'm not, there's polyamory and different ways that people connect with different groups of people or numbers of people. And, I think that's great if the communication level and the maturity level is there to actually be able to work with that situation, which most of the time I don't find that it is. I feel like there's a lot of fantasy involved, and I think we need to do the work on ourselves before we can get into those types of relationships, because it's hard enough with one person, it really is. And then to try to add in another. So, and some people are at that level where they can have a healthy experience like that, that's nourishing for all people involved. But usually I haven't seen that go very well. But I don't think we're at a place in our consciousness right now where we're relating very healthy with anybody. We're just really navigating that and learning a lot more about what hasn't been working, and we're carrying a lot of wounds and traumas, and got a lot of sexual abuse stuff. We've been given really strange ideas about what relationships are supposed to look like from Hollywood and the media and religion and government, just really distorted, strange ways the relationships are supposed to look. And I think until we can really work on that part for ourselves and do that deep work, which takes a long time, I think all relationships are really challenged right now. And I know a lot of us are, if you can find somebody that's doing the work too, because this is what I told somebody in the session or in our healing circle at the full moon, we can't wait until we get to that place where we're this perfect, okay, I'm totally healed now, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to get into that relationship. No, because we're not going to be there. The journey, the human journey, is one of evolving, growing, healing, learning, working with our wounds, working with our stuff, working with our beautiful stuff too, and strengthening those parts of ourselves as well. It's not just about the wounding, but we're not going to get to this magical place where we're like, okay, yeah, now I'm ready and I'm going to have this perfect, amazing relationship. No, absolutely not. But you need to find somebody else who is also on the path and also committed to working through the challenges as they arise. And that's what my husband and I were. We were very committed to working with the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine. We knew what we were coming in with. We didn't enter into it blindly. So, all that. And I know that escorting piece and working through all that was part of our process to work with the wounded feminine and wounded masculine. So we were very conscious about what we were doing, and I think that's the key, to find somebody else who's working on their stuff, and then you can walk the journey together. And being in a relationship stirs up a lot of things that you just can't get to on your own. I felt like I was in a pretty good place, and I'd worked with a lot of my stuff, and then met my husband. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be great. No, it just stirred up all the stuff that I wasn't able to get to on my own, that needed the mirror. I needed the triggers. I needed the things to like really, activate, so I could see like, oh shoot. I guess I got that to work on, and oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, time to work on that too. And like, oh wow, that really frustrates the heck out of me. There's some more stuff to work with. So, it was really it was about that. It was for both of us. And I know the escorting piece was triggering all his wounding, all of his insecurities and what he really needed to work with to, because it triggered things in a way that nothing else could, right? I mean, your wife is with somebody else, and like that's going to trigger a lot if you're not in a confident, stable place. It's going to bring it all to the surface, and it really did. So, kudos to him for really working with that. And we did the best we could with all of that. That's not a normal situation one finds themselves in usually. For both of us, like, it's just so yeah, but that, yeah, don't necessarily, I mean, of course, take your time and you'll know when you're ready for a relationship, but don't wait for this perfect moment where you think you're completely healed, because I'm here to tell you, you're not going to be completely healed. That is not the way humans work. And we're just, that's not our thing. So, but we can get to that place where we can bring a lot more compassion and empathy and skillfulness into and greater communication into our relationships, and a greater ability to work with the triggers when they come up. So yes, definitely get yourself to that point to where you're not in so much reactivity, just reacting to everything all over the place, when you can be more present with what's going on and recognize and witness yourself and go, that really triggered me. There's something here to work with, and of course it doesn't work so calmly. I would go into my stuff, and then like it would take a while sometimes to get like, okay, clearly I'm really activated here. And but when the triggers come, the anger or the sadness or whatever, it activates. And so it's like, there, you can't just calmly go, oh, okay, I'm just not going to feel this anger. I'm just a little triggered, No, we feel it. We feel it for sure, but we get better at it. The more we work with it, it gets easier, and the less we have to stay in that stuff. And the more we work with it, the more we can catch ourselves, and the more, like energy healing, the more we do work with the energy of it, really that clears a lot of it out, so we can get some distance from our reactivity. We can get some distance from our strong emotions that we're working with that are trapped in our body. Again, this is what the energy healing does. It comes in there and kind of breaks it up and gets it out of the body. So now we can get a good handle on how we're relating to our triggers, how we're relating to the mirror. We don't have to be so in our trigger, in our reactivity. That's a big piece. So I just can't say enough about the sound healing and energy healing to really work with that and clear those energies out and break them up for us, so we can get some flow. We're not so stuck in reactivity. That's just huge, and especially huge for relationships, like really, because they are our mirror. They are there to show us absolutely everything we still need to work on. They're not going to be all rainbows and unicorns, and they are that too. But that there's a purpose. There's a purpose there. We're here to grow and evolve, and the people that come into our lives are our greatest teachers, and they're here to support us and show us where we need some work. So, and they can be a lot of fun too. My husband and I had so much fun. We had a great time together. We just, it was awesome, and we had a lot of stuff to work through. So it was all the things. It finally got to a point where it was too much. It was some work needed to be done separately. So that's what we came to, and we knew that was the right choice for us. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, just really inspired to talk about that. The sexuality piece is huge for us, huge for the wounded feminine, huge for the rising of our consciousness, and for the collective, really working through this piece. So I'm really, really passionate about having these conversations and helping us to open that up for ourselves, and having this dialogue and getting down into it. I hope this stirred some things up for you, and has you asking some questions of yourself and looking at your own expression and where it comes from. Does it come from a heart-based place, or does it come from a wounded place of needing a validation from outside? Or shutting out the outside. We can shut down our sexuality so we don't get any outside. We don't have to deal with that either, because we're not capable of handling that energy that comes in, because we're not strong in our power. So, it can go all sorts of ways, but we know when we're in our heart. We know when we're in our confidence. If we decide we're not interested in any sort of sexual expression, as long as that's from our heart and feels in alignment, we don't have to worry about it. We're not feeling any weirdness around that. awesome, you know? If we're wanting to just be going for it and just really enjoying so many different experiences, and like, as long as we're coming from our hearts and just, again, no guilt and shame, no punishment, no weirdness, no like, no needing that outside validation. Great, and that's where I'm hoping for us to get to. So yeah, I invite you to explore that for yourself and see how that shows up. Like, comment, subscribe, schedule a session when you're ready to like really kind of dig into this and kind of start picking this energy apart and clearing it out. There's the self-exploration piece that is really important, but then there's also working with the energy of it, because we are energetic beings, and until we work with it at that level, we're just going to have that energy stuck in our body. That's just part of what it is. And the same thought process, our thoughts are energy, and they're in there, until we like break it up, clear it out, and bring some flow in, we're going to keep spinning in that stuff. So that's just how the energy works. That's just what it is. So also a reminder that my program is coming up, 6-week intensive women healing through intergenerational trauma, because so much of this energy we've taken in from the generations of just unhealthy sexuality and so much freaking sexual abuse and trauma that women have experienced for thousands of years. And that is huge in our experience, and we really need to address that and work with it and understand that that is part of what's going on. There are many factors to what's going on right now, but this is a big piece. We've inherited so much from the collective and from the previous generations, and this really unhealthy energy of repression and distorted sexuality, and the distorted views of the female energy and the perversion of the female energy. And the wounded feminine is living large, so we need to, and the wounded masculine, so we really need to work with all of this and clear it out. So this intensive program is 6 weeks of therapeutic writing to deep dive into it, and get it out. And then when that comes up to the surface, we're going to clear it out with an energy session every week, weekly energy healing sessions to clear it out. We're going to have group sessions to talk about it. That's important too, to share and to hear what other women are talking about and what they're going through. We're going to be doing ritual every week. You yourself will be doing your own personal ritual to help you go into yourself, into your experience, and what does all this look like for you. It's a very personalized program, very personalized. And because this is not one size fits all, everybody's got their own energy body. Everyone's got their own stuff they've inherited. They've got their own traumas from their own experience. Not only do we inherit from previous generations, we come in and we have our own sexual abuse issues, unhealthy relationship patterns, sense of self-worth issues, so many things, body image issues, health issues. There's so much going on. There's so much going on based on many factors, where we live, what religion we were brought up in, what our families did or didn't do, so much. So it's very personalized for you. And at the end, we're going to have a really powerful death ritual, Phoenix Rising. We're going to put to death the wounded feminine and step strong into our powerful sacred feminine energies. We're going to be doing ancestor healing, because we must heal that energy going backwards and clear it from the land and clear it so it's a healthy going forwards. The buck stops here. We're breaking these patterns. We're breaking these unhealthy belief systems and the limitations that we've inherited. We're going to clear that and break it apart, and you're going to come out of that program with just so much more confidence and understanding of the various factors that are at play, and you'll be able to make much more healthy decisions and choices for yourself, because you'll be able to see the patterns now, and you'll just like, wow, okay, there's that. You're gonna have a really powerful understanding of what is going on, so you can make different choices. You can be in your power. You can just seriously rock out different energy. You'll have a whole new energy body after 6 energy healing sessions. I mean, seriously, that is intense. It's some powerful stuff. So we're gonna really just clear out some of the old stuff. So much of the old stuff. Excuse me. My nose is running. Allergies. It's springtime. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's it. So, yeah, and we've got our new moon healing circle coming up, which is going to be super powerful because that's an eclipse. And it's just like the second most powerful eclipse of the decade, they're saying, after January 2020. And we already all know what happened after 2020. That just changed the whole freaking world. So this eclipse coming up is a total rock star. And we need to honor it and recognize it and be in it and be very intentional with the energies. So we have control going forward. We can set ourselves on the right path. We can just work with the energies in a very intentional way, very conscious way. When we just let things happen to us willy-nilly, that's what we get, willy-nilly, whatever happens. We must take control of our energy. We must take control of the trajectory of our lives. We must take control of how we're showing up. We must take control of what we want in our lives. When we don't get clear, anything shows up, and that's what we have to deal with. So that's so much, the work that I'm doing is so much about that, just helping us to be so intentional with how we're living our lives, and we create our own reality. It's quite simple, for the most part. We create this fear-based experience for ourselves, but once we get intentional, we see the patterns, and we have to see the patterns. That's what this program is so much about, to see the patterns. If we're not conscious about this inherited trauma and this unconscious grief that's running amok, how can we clear it? How can we make different choices for ourselves when it remains unconscious and hidden? It's just doing its thing, right? So we're going to bring it up to the surface, and we're going to look at it, we're going to explore it, we're going to be like, oh, okay, that's what's been going on. Now I can make different choices, right? So sounds simple. Kind of it is, but we just haven't been doing that for the most part. We've been kind of letting things just, so it's time to take back our power, take control of our situation and our experience, and yeah, just really rock it out. So check out all those things. I also have a new downloadable booklet, Top 13 Ways the Unconscious Grief of the Wounded Feminine is Showing Up in Your Life and your relationships, and what you can do about it. So that will really give you a good understanding of how I work with this wounded feminine energy and how we're working to clear it out. So yeah, a really good introduction to my work, great to do that and then get a healing session to clear out what's coming up for you. It's a writing, there's a journal, so you get to write. You read about you learn about the different wounded feminine energies, and then you get to write about your own self-exploration, see how that shows up for you, and write it out. And then, there's coupon codes in the book too. So when you're ready for that energy healing session, lovely coupon in there for you. So let's do this thing. I look forward to seeing you in the new moon circle. I look forward to seeing you download the book. I look forward to seeing you in the program. I look forward to seeing you in a session. I look forward to seeing you. So many opportunities. I've got lots of community events on the page. There's an Earth Days coming up. Like, yay, land healing opportunities. So, okay, I'll shush. I love to talk. It's been great to talk to you, and I thank you for your connection, and I would love to hear what's coming up for you when you explore all these different sexual energies for yourself. So like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications, all that good stuff. So yeah, and email, reach out. I love to hear from you. So sending you so much love. Bye all.